17th of November 2025. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst's Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news tonight for the Newsfirst team, I am Jayama Ratnaik.
And I am Hasini. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
"1,400 protest deaths declared crimes against humanity. Bangladesh's ex-Prime Minister Hasina, ex-Home Minister sentenced to death. Ranil's legal team meets Attorney General over 16.6 million rupee misuse allegations. Trincomalee Buddha statue reinstalled. Opposition factions question links to November 21st rally by other opposition groups. Opposition blocks local council budgets. Public ask, is this hurting villagers? Tourist arrivals cross 2 million this year.
On to those stories in detail, on to our top story tonight. Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been found guilty of crimes against humanity and sentenced to death. A special tribunal found she was responsible for ordering a violent crackdown on student-led protests last year, during which the UN estimates up to 1,400 people died, most by gunfire from security forces. Now, Hasina has condemned the Dhaka court verdict as biased and politically motivated.
Bangladesh, the International Crimes Tribunal has convicted former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina of crimes against humanity. The International Crimes Tribunal, Bangladesh's domestic war crimes court located in the capital Dhaka, delivered the verdict amid tight security and in Hasina's absence. She fled to India in August 2024 at the height of the uprising against her government. Along with Hasina, the tribunal is trying former Home Minister Azaduzzaman Khan Kamal and ex-police chief Chaudhry Abdullah Al-Ma'mun, who has since turned state witness. Hasina and Kamal were being tried in absentia after fleeing the country in the wake of the unrest. Hasina faced 5 charges primarily related to inciting the murder of protesters, ordering protesters be hanged, and ordering the use of lethal weapons, drones and helicopters to suppress the unrest. She denies the charges.
Justice must not fail. In view of all the above facts and circumstances and findings, it is hereby ordered that accused Sheikh Hasina be found guilty on 3 counts under charge 1. Count number 1, incitement. Count number 2, order to kill. Count number 3, inaction to prevent the atrocities and failing to take punitive actions against the perpetrators. For all these 3 counts of crime against humanity, we do incline to award a single sentence, that is the sentence of imprisonment till natural death, for under charge 1. Under charge 2, accused Sheikh Hasina is liable on 2 counts. On 1 count, there are several counts. For 1 count, that is passing the order for deploying drones, helicopters, and using lethal weapons against the protesters. She committed crime against humanity. She also committed the same crime crime against humanity on the second count, killing 6 persons at Santapur of Dhaka. He was committed in contemplation, in furtherance by virtue of her order, as stated beforehand. And similarly, she committed the same crime, that is the crime against humanity, on another count, for causing the killings at Ashulia of Sabah, killing of 6 persons. For all these 3 counts, we have decided to inflict her with only one sentence, that is sentence of death. Please. For Abdullah Mahmoud. Accused Asaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal is liable for committing crime against humanity for the occurrence of killing 6 persons at Sankarpur of Dhaka. In this occurrence, they are liable for committing crimes against humanity by their abatement and failing to prevent the atrocities and also to failing to take necessary preventive measures, punitive measures. So for all these 4 counts, we have decided to award a single sentence of death.
Bangladesh's special tribunal sentenced former Home Minister Asaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal to death for crimes against humanity. Ex-police chief Al-Ma'mun was sentenced to 5 years. Investigators compiled one of the largest bodies of evidence the special tribunal has handled. 14 volumes of documents totaling nearly 10,000 pages, including local and international reports, medical records, post-mortem files, ballistic logs, helicopter flight schedules and media footage were all put together to build the case against the former Prime Minister and 2 other accused. At least 93 documentary exhibits and 32 material exhibits ranging from bullets and shell casings to blood-stained clothing, audio and video recordings and field reports were collected. More than 80 witnesses testified, 54 of them in court, including survivors, doctors, protest organizers and investigators. Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Hasina has condemned the Dhaka court verdict as biased and politically motivated. The death penalty is the interim government's way of nullifying the Awami League as a political force, she said in a 5-page statement released after the verdict. Hasina, who is in exile in India, had earlier called the trial a farce and denied all the charges against her. She said, quote-unquote, "I am not afraid to face my accusers in a proper tribunal where the evidence can be weighed and tested fairly," adding that she had challenged the interim government to bring these charges before the International Criminal Court in The Hague. She noted that she is, quote-unquote, "very proud of government's record on human rights and development." According to the Reuters news agency, Hasina said, quote-unquote, "We lost control of the situation, but one cannot characterize what happened as a premeditated assault on citizens." Following the verdict, India's Ministry of External Affairs has published a statement on its official website saying, quote-unquote, "India has noted the verdict announced by the International Crimes Tribunal of Bangladesh concerning former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina." The statement goes on to note that India remains committed to the best interests of the people of Bangladesh, adding that, quote-unquote, "We will always engage constructively with all stakeholders to that end." The verdict can be appealed in the Supreme Court, but Hasina's son and advisor Sajib Wazid told Reuters on the eve of the verdict that they would not appeal unless a democratically elected government took office with the Awami League's participation. Since she fled the country in August last year, Hasina has been living in exile and under protection in neighboring India, and the Indian government has ignored requests for her extradition to face trial.
The Additional Attorney General of Bangladesh commented on the verdict in a statement to Newsfirst.
This was a long-awaited verdict, and we have tried to be as transparent as can be because the whole trial was basically televised. Everybody saw that there was every fair opportunity has been given, everything has been done as per the law, and after hearing today the judgment was pronounced, and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina along with the then Home Minister Mr. Asaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal has been given death sentence, and the other person, the IG of police at that point of time, as he turned out to be the approver, that is, he admitted the charge and helped the prosecution to prove their case by confessing and actually actively participating in the prosecution. He has been given a lenient sentence of 5 years imprisonment. During the trial, it transpired that there were telephone conversations which has been tested by BBC. Forensic test was done and found out to be a genuine conversation of Sheikh Hasina with her other cronies, that she has given an open order to use lethal weapon on the students during last July and August. So after considering all this evidence and following the rule of law, she has been sentenced to death.
In her most explosive and revealing interviews since being forced from power, former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has broken her silence from her secret shelter in New Delhi. Speaking to India's NDTV, Hasina recounted the chaos of her August 5th ouster, the destruction of her family's historic home, and what she describes as a state-sanctioned assault on minorities and democracy.
Since leaving Bangladesh, you have rarely spoken to the international media, addressing mostly your supporters and party members. How do you personally reflect on your violent ouster on the 5th August 2024? Could you take us through how those events unfolded from your perspective?
The events of last summer were a tragic subversion of democracy. What started as legitimate student protests was exploited by anti-democratic forces who conspired to remove the elected government through violence and intimidation, leading to chaos and needless loss of life. Very quickly, it became apparent that the security situation had deteriorated so drastically that my only choice was to leave Dhaka to ensure the safety of my family and to prevent the escalation of violence. It was painful to leave behind my homeland. It has also been difficult to watch as our pluralistic culture was assaulted, and the measures we had taken to nurture economic development was senselessly reversed. But I have great faith in the Bangladeshi people's resilience and desire for democratic choice. The arrest of former President Ranil Wickremesinghe several months ago sparked one of the biggest national conversations in recent history. Now, he was taken into custody of allegations of spending 16.6 million rupees in public funds on a private overseas trip to attend his wife's graduation ceremony. Now, a week later, Wickremesinghe was released on bail after his legal team presented medical concerns to the court, which were taken into consideration. The case is currently being heard before the magistrates' court.
Now, a new development has surfaced. A high-level discussion has taken place between Attorney General Ranil and Wickremesinghe's legal team regarding the ongoing investigation. What was this meeting about, and what transpired during the discussion?
President's Counsel Anuja Premaratne, along with President's Counsel Ronald Pereira and Attorney-at-Law Iraj De Silva, representing former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, attended a meeting with Attorney General Ranil last Friday at the Attorney General's official office. Both Ranil and Anuja Premaratne confirmed to Newsfirst that such a discussion took place. The Attorney General had also summoned Additional Solicitor General Dileep Piris and Deputy Solicitor General Vasanta Pereira for the meeting. Speaking to Newsfirst, Attorney General Ranil revealed that officials from the Criminal Investigation Department had travelled to the United Kingdom to pursue inquiries related to Wickremesinghe's case without prior notification to him. Wickremesinghe's legal team raised this matter during the discussion. In response, Additional Solicitor General Piris clarified that since this was part of an ongoing investigation, there was no requirement to inform the Attorney General beforehand. He further reminded that during the previous court session, Wickremesinghe's counsel had questioned why no investigation was being conducted in the UK. Against that backdrop, Piris asked what objection there could be now to CID officials conducting inquiries overseas. Wickremesinghe's lawyers had left the premises after noting that all future steps would proceed according to the investigation process. The Attorney General stated that the discussion lasted approximately 10 minutes. Meanwhile, 3 CID officers departed for the UK on the 12th of November to carry out investigations linked to the allegations. The case accuses Wickremesinghe of spending over 16.6 million rupees in public funds on a private overseas trip to attend his wife's graduation ceremony. The matter is scheduled to be called up again on the 28th of January.
Tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka for the year exceeded 2 million today, with the French couple becoming the landmark 2 millionth visitors.
I'm not expecting such a welcome from you guys today. I mean, we're really looking forward to those 2 weeks of holidays and like expecting really good wave for surfing, good food, and meet great people.
Well, we're absolutely delighted by this amazing welcome. We are really looking forward for our vacation in Sri Lanka, discover the coast, the mountains, the forest, the food, and also the people. We're looking forward to our best vacation here, discover everything we can for 2 weeks, and really looking forward to it.
The government has intervened to remove a Buddha statue in Trincomalee, a move that dominated headlines both inside and outside Parliament today, becoming a focal point of opposition parties. This controversy unfolds against the backdrop of the opposition alliance preparing for a major protest on the 21st, signalling growing friction between the government and its critics. What exactly happened in Trincomalee? Here is an in-depth look at the unfolding situation and the investigation now underway.
What happened in Trincomalee? The controversy centers around the Sri Sambuddhatva Jayanti Bodhiraja Vihara located on Kotua Road in Trincomalee. For several days, preparations were underway to construct a new building on land claimed to belong to the temple. Among those involved were Venerable Balangoda Kassapatera and several others. Last morning, the foundation stone for a new Dhamma school building was laid by the chief incumbent and members of the Dayaka Sabha. Following the ceremony, the group placed a Buddha statue inside a temporary hut at the site. However, police arrived and informed the group that the Coast Conservation Department had lodged a complaint with the Trincomalee Harbour Police alleging unauthorized construction on the land. When police attempted to enter the premises, the group resisted, leading to a tense exchange. Later, police intervened and removed the Buddha statue from the temporary hut, taking it to the Harbour Police Station. Following the incident, Venerable Trincomalee Kalyanavansa Tissatera, the chief incumbent, and another monk were hospitalized, claiming to have suffered injuries. Meanwhile, Parliamentarian Roshan Akmimana of the National People's Power visited the temple premises in the afternoon, where he faced protests from the gathered crowd. However, later in the day, Trincomalee Harbour Police returned the Buddha statue to the Sri Sambuddhatta Jayanti Bodhiraja Vihare premises.
This incident became a major talking point in Parliament today, with opposition MPs raising various concerns since morning. Among those who spoke were opposition leaders Sajid Premadasa, Dayasiri Jayasekara, Nama Rajapaksa, Dilip Jayavira and Chamara Sampath Dasanayaka. Government members responded to the issue raised.
We received information last night about a disturbance involving the Buddha statue placed at the site, including possible damage. Accordingly, the police removed the statue to ensure its safety. Today, we have instructed the police to return the statue to the temple premises and implement proper security measures. The Coastal Conservation Department has also lodged a complaint stating that a restaurant previously operated there illegally. Legal action is underway and any further steps will follow the court's decision. Today, the police entered the sacred premises and decided where the Buddha statue should be placed. They also imposed restrictions on constructing the Dhamma school building. I want to ask, are these actions giving extremist groups an opportunity to undermine national unity and fuel divisions within our society? There was a big fuss claiming that the statue was placed again. But the issue remains unresolved despite the minister's statement. While ensuring the statue's safety, monks were hospitalized after being assaulted. Are we protecting the statue or the monks? Or are we trying to rescue the statue from the monks? Let's not turn this into an ethics issue or a communal conflict. We will not allow anyone to use this incident to incite racism or communalism. We will not allow for acts of the past to be repeated. There is no room for that. We will resolve this through discussions with all parties involved. Certain matters will be reported to court and we will act accordingly. The item protecting the statue was broken. The monks were attacked. If there was a complaint, the police should have investigated and handled it properly, not assaulted monks. As Dayasiri Jayasekara mentioned, I also urged the opposition leader not to politicize illegal activities. If the temple is being constructed legally with proper documents, then proceed through the divisional secretary. Why was a foundation stone laid on a Sunday morning and a statue placed by night? This raises questions. I believe this was done as preparation for the 21st November rally. Don't use illegal acts to spread nationalism. Nama Rajapaksa is not here. Use other measures to draw crowds for the 21st of November. Do not engage in acts that incite racism in this country. I am speaking based on instructions from the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice. The Secretary clearly stated that under Section 106 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the police have already reported the matter to court. Therefore, debating an issue that has been formally reported to court is not permissible in this House. Now, this matter has even extended to Dehiwala. Honorable Speaker, the Dehiwala incident is very clear. It occurred before we came to power. However, the Buddha statue was placed after we assumed office. It was taken away secretly and then brought back secretly. How does this situation escalate into ethnic or religious conflict? This debate is heading in a very dangerous direction. I urge you to intervene immediately and stop this.
ගරු ඇමතිවරුනි මම අද කියන්නම්.
Honorable ministers, even if you laugh, remember this. Every time you challenge the sovereignty of this nation, the people will rise against you, regardless of ethnicity or religion. They will rise soon. Do not think you can assault monks and get away with it.
හාමුදුරුවන්ට අල්ලන් ගහලා ඔය වැඩේ කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා.
ව්‍යවසායකත්වයේ රාජ්‍යයක් ගොඩනැගීම පිළිබඳ
We talk about building an entrepreneurial state. But some are not building an entrepreneurial state, they are pursuing their own interests. We know this from the past. Their only concern is profit. They do not care where the country goes, nor do they have any sense of national unity. We spoke about Sri Lankan representation and the genuine feeling behind it. During the pandemic, that feeling diminished and some exploited the suffering of the people to earn extra income. For Sri Lanka to move forward, peace is an essential factor.
අපි රටක් ලෙස ඉදිරියට යන්නත් ඒ ගමන යන්න නම් අපට සාමය අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සාධකයක්.
The Frontline Socialist Party clarified its position at a media briefing today. The party consistently acted in defense of land rights for the people of the eastern province, including Trincomalee.
මේ කියන සිද්ධාස්ථාන අපේ භූමියෙන් ඒ ප්‍රදේශයෙන් වාර්තා වෙන විදිහට 2004 සුනාමියත් එක්ක තමයි.
The location in question, according to residents, ceased religious activities after the 2004 tsunami. The land was abandoned. The monk from another temple who claims ownership now had previously rented the land out for a juice bar. When the Coastal Conservation Department initiated legal action against this juice bar, and when it became clear the land would be lost, the monk suddenly attempted to reclaim it by placing a Buddha statue there to assert ownership. We want to make it clear, some monks involved in this are known for travelling across the country, creating ethnic tensions. Now there is an attempt to provoke Sinhala-Tamil conflict here. Certain forces want to exploit this situation to ignite nationalism and unrest. We also know that Namal Rajapaksa is planning a rally in Nugegoda. They need fuel for their fire, some controversy to mobilize crowds. In the past, we saw similar tactics during the presidential election. Allegations have even surfaced about their links to the Easter Sunday attacks. These groups have historically used chaos and violence to regain power, so it's not surprising they would welcome ethnic tension now. This is not an isolated incident. Losing a temple land is not the real issue here. It is a calculated move. When the Coastal Conservation Department filed a case, suddenly a Buddha statue appears to claim ownership. Buddhists should think deeply about this. We strongly oppose any attempt to stir ethnic hatred. These isolated nationalist incidents manipulate public opinion.
නාමල් රාජපක්ෂලා ඉතින් නාමල් රාජපක්ෂලාට මේ කොහෙන් හරි ඉන්න ඕන. කොහෙන් හරි තෙල්ල ඕන මේගොල්ලන්ට තමන්ගේ ගින්න අවුලෝගන්න.
The Janabala organization held a media briefing themed People's Power for People's Aspirations on the controversy in Trincomalee.
ඒවා ඉතින් මෙහෙමයි ඔයගේ දේවල් කාලෙන් කාලෙට එනවා. ඔය හරි සංවේදීනේ.
These things happen from time to time. They are highly sensitive issues and neither the police nor anyone else seems to know how to handle them properly. I believe the government needs a clear mechanism to resolve such matters. These are traps, like snares set for animals. If you know there is a trap, you avoid it. The government should anticipate these traps before stepping into them. Once you're caught, shouting won't help. Some claim this is part of a conspiracy to destroy Buddhism. That narrative surfaces every time. But if Buddhism could be destroyed simply by removing a statue somewhere, then Buddhism would already be very weak. The real issue is that the government fails to foresee these sensitive situations and prepare for them. It needs to understand what these sensitive issues are and how to deal with them. Otherwise, it will keep falling into these traps.
මේ සංවේදී දේවල් මොනවද? ඒ සංවේදී ප්‍රශ්නත් එක්ක කොහොමද ගනුදෙනු කරන්නේ? මේවට මං හිතන්නේ කියන්නේ මේවා ගැන තමයි කල්පනා කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් හැමදාම මේ උගුල් වල පැටලෙනවා.
News First with the people.
While the opposition coalition prepares to hold a rally on the 21st of November in Nugegoda against the government, several developments linked to the coalition have unfolded. In recent days, the coalition has also moved to defeat the budget proposals of a number of local government bodies. What is the strategy behind these actions? Our next report takes a closer look.
In recent days, a pattern has emerged in which the opposition coalition has moved to defeat the budgets of local government bodies where they hold a larger number of seats. This comes against the backdrop of the incumbent government deciding to proceed with local government elections after the previous administration postponed it, citing a lack of funds even when there was a court order to conduct the poll. Many development projects that should have been carried out at village level for years had been stalled, and officials expected these projects to resume only after the elections and the re-establishment of local councils. So what happens now with budgets in these institutions being defeated? At the Uvaparanagama Pradesh Sabha, the National People's Power holds 20 seats. However, the opposition coalition commands the majority in the council. They hold 21 seats. It was these 21 seats that voted down the budget recently presented to the council by the National People's Power.
Several expert proposals have been brought to develop Lunuwata town as a tourist destination. We have also presented proposals in this budget for the approval of a number of projects with the potential to generate foreign revenue through value addition to export products and agricultural products. In our budget, we have presented proposals for the betterment of the people through a number of new large-scale projects. However, when the budget for 2026 was presented, all the opposition political parties came together and defeated it. This raised the question as to why they oppose a plan that is beneficial to the people.
Residents of Uvaparanagama also voiced their opinion.
අහිමි කරන්න තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ලොකු උත්සාහයක් තින්නේ. මෙච්චර කාලයක් ඒගොල්ලන් බොම්බු රැල්ල වුණත් බැලුවොත් මෙච්චර කාලයක් ලොකු ආදායමක් තිබ්බේ නැහැ. දැන් තමයි ඒක ආදායමක් ලැබෙන ක්‍රමයකට හදලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒකවල පාරක් තොටක් හැදුවත් උතන පොඩි පොඩි කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් කරත් ඒගොල්ලන්ට වාසියක් වෙන විදිහටනේ ඒගොල්ලන් හදාගෙන තිබ්බේ. දැන් මේක සත පහක්වත් වංචාවක් නැතුව දූෂණයක් නැතුව කෙලිගෙන යන නිසා මං හිතන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අවාසිය නිසාම තමයි මේ අය පරාද කරන්න මූලිකම හේතුව. ගමගොඩේ අපේ පාරවල් හදන්න තිබ්බ සල්ලි වෙන් කරපු පාරට තමයි මෙයාලා මේ ඩ්‍රෝයි වෙලා අත උස්සන්නේ. ඉතින් අර අත උස්සන්න වාලේ අත උස්සනවා. හරි ඒක මහා බාල වැඩක්. ඉතින් පව් බෝම්බයල්ල වගේ ව්‍යාපෘති වලට සල්ලි වෙන් කරපුවා. දැන් ඒවට තමයි විරුද්ධතාවය යාලා මේ අත උස්සලා තියෙන්නේ.
On the 13th of this month, the first budget of the Dodangota Pradesh Sabha, where the National People's Power holds control, was also defeated by the opposition coalition. The Samagi Jana Balawega, the Sri Lanka Pujana Peramuna, an independent group, the National Freedom Front, Sarva Jana Balaya and the United National Party all supported the move to defeat the budget.
දේශපාලන උවමනාවන් මත අයවැය පරාද කරන එකටම අපි කනගාටු වෙනවා. දැවැන්ත වැඩපිළිවෙලක් සංවර්ධනයක් වංචාව දූෂණයෙන් තොර ඒ මන්ත්‍රී කණ්ඩායම සහ මම හිතන්නේ විපක්ෂයේ සහයෝගය දීගෙන කරේ මේ අවසාන මොහොතේ මොන කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් කරා ඒක සිදුනාද කියන එක අපිට ඇත්තටම ජනතාවක් විදිහට හිතා ගන්නත් බෑ.
විශාල වැඩ කොටසක් පටන් අරගෙන තියෙනවා. ඒ වැඩ කොටස කරගෙන යන්න මම හිතන්නේ විපක්ෂයට බොහොම විපක්ෂයේ කටයුතු කරගෙන යෑමේ යෑමේ අපස්ථාවයට පත් වෙන හින්දා ඒගොල්ලෝ මේක ඉක්මනින් කඩාකප්පල් කරන්න උත්සාහ කරන විදිහ තමයි පේන්නේ.
පාරවල ලයිට් තිබුණේ නැහැ පහුගිය කාලේ දැන් ලයිට් දාලා දුන්නා. පාර හදාගෙන යනවා දැනට. මේ ඒ වැඩ කටයුතු හොඳින් කරගෙන යනවා. මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ කකුලෙන් අදින්න නැතුව මේ දේවල් කරගෙන යන ඉඩකඩ සලසලා දෙන්න කියලා තමයි.
තාමත්ම විනිවිද භාවකින් ඒ වගේම ප්‍රමිතිගතව කරන ව්‍යාපෘති බව වෙමින් පැවතුණා. සුන්බුන් විපක්ෂය මේ වෙලාවේ පරාජය කරේ වෙනම කිසිම හේතුවක් නිසා නෙමෙයි. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ දින පටු අරමුණු පටු දේශපාලනය මුදුන්පත් කරගෙන තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ පරාජය කරේ. මේ හදපු පාරවල් උනත් මේ වෙනකොට මේවා යන්න පුළුවන් කමක් තිබුණේ නැහැ. තනිකර මඩවලවල් ඒ වගේ දේවල් තමයි තිබුණේ.
පරාජය වෙන්න හේතුවන් මට නම් කිසිම හේතුවක් හිතා ගන්න.
I can't think of any reason for them to oppose it. We have presented positive proposals covering multiple sectors. This is a coordinated act to defeat the budget.
මේ අයවැය පරද්දන්න මෙතනට ඇවිල්ලා තින්නේ.
Over the past few days, plantation workers have strongly protested against the opposition for opposing the 200 rupee allowance proposed by the government in the budget. These protests have not yet come to an end. The opposition leader's media spokesperson Prasad Siriwardana and SJB MP Rohini Kaviratna expressed their opposition in recent days to the allowance granted to estate workers. However, when estate workers themselves voiced their displeasure, the opposition leader publicly stated that the 200 rupee allowance should in fact be provided to estate workers.
We have no objection to that raise. We will support it. That is the stance of the SJB and the Samagi Jana Alliance. As its leader, I am expressing our formal stance.
However, the opposition leader's media spokesperson held a contrasting view to that of his leader when speaking in Parliament.
Public tax money is being used to increase wages for those working in the private sector. That is a serious issue. If this continues, what happens when potato farmers, onion farmers and garment workers start making similar demands? My challenge to anyone who wants to resolve this is, come for a TV debate. Raise your hand if you are ready. I even saw the foreign minister giving a voice cut on this. Is Minister Vijitha Herath willing to come? Is there anyone who is ready to participate? If not, there is no point in dragging this further. If someone is willing, let them come. Is there anyone who is ready? Let's not waste 1 or 2 minutes. Let's end this once and for all. The flower pots of Palavatta can only threaten us from this chamber. Do not challenge those with a strong root. Weeds can't challenge a tree with a strong root.
MP Rohini Kaviratna had previously lodged complaints with the Bribery Commission, the Auditor General and the Procurement Commission opposing the use of public funds to grant the 200 rupee allowance to estate workers. Speaking again in Parliament today, she reiterated her position, arguing that this allowance is not legally permissible.
මේක රෝහිණී විජේරත්නගේ මතය මිස සමගි ජනබලවේගයේ මතය නෙවෙයි.
This is my opinion. It does not reflect the SJB's stance. If you have concerns when laws are drafted, we can create a discourse on it. This is what I did. I will explain it. Listen to me silently. I have no illness to go against the benefit afforded to estate workers. I will raise both my hands if this is being done legally. But I'm against treating them. I reiterate, this is my stance. All I questioned was whether it is in line with the Public Financial Management Act number 44 of 2024. Attorney General says that law is supreme. However, the Auditor General is yet to reply. This is being spent on through the consolidated fund. It needs to be lawful. Citing several demands, including additional allowances, the Government Medical Officers Association, or the GMOA, today launched a nationwide strike. Protesting against the 2026 budget proposals, doctors carried out a series of trade union actions, including refraining from issuing prescriptions for medicines and equipment unavailable in hospitals, which patients would otherwise obtain from external sources. However, this afternoon, the GMOA met with the President to present their concerns.
The GMOA commenced a trade union action in protest of the 2026 budget, which they claim disregards healthcare services and medical professionals. Among the measures taken were refraining from issuing prescriptions for medicines and equipment unavailable in hospitals for patients to purchase externally, refusing to provide recommendations for laboratory tests unavailable in hospitals to be conducted outside, halting the assignment of doctors to newly opened hospital wards and units that lack adequate medical staff. Nevertheless, the association had the opportunity to meet the President this afternoon to raise awareness of their issues. During the meeting, the President urged the GMOA to support the government's efforts to maintain the economic stability that has been achieved. He noted that the economy, which collapsed in 2022, has now stabilized, and sustaining this stability remains a key priority of the government. The President expressed hope that the GMOA would extend its support towards this goal.
We have specifically requested the revision of allowances applicable to doctors, particularly converting the additional duty allowance into a permanent component of their salary. Furthermore, we asked for the inclusion of doctors and specialist doctors under relevant provisions of Public Administration Circulars 22 and 99. The President assured us that these proposals will be studied and that discussions will continue to find feasible solutions.
However, as part of today's trade union actions, patients faced severe difficulties due to the refusal to issue prescriptions for medicines and equipment unavailable in hospitals.
ලියලා දෙන්නේ. ඔව් පිටින් එතකොට ලෙඩ මැරිලානේ. රජය අද මේව ඔක්කොම ඒගොල්ලන්ට පසුකම් මේව කරලා තියෙනවා නම් ඉංගල හැමදේමත් දෙනවා නම් ඇයි ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ වගේ වැඩ කරන්නේ නේ? අපි ඉතින් දරුවෝ අපි දුක් විඳින්න ඕනේ.
දේශපාලන වාසිතක තමයි මේ රෝගීන් අපහසුතාවක් කරන්නේ.
ඒක දුන්නේ නෑ මේකෙන් ගන්න කිව්වා ඒ ડોක්ටර්ලා බෙහෙත් නෑ මේ කිව්ව පිටින් ගන්න. මේ දෙයාලා පොඩි කිට්ටයක් දෙනවනේ. කිට් එක දුන්නෙත් නෑ මොනවත් නෑ. ඉතින් බෙහෙත් නෑ වගේ තමයි ඉතින්. ඉතින් සෑහෙන අපහසුතාවයකටපත් වෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි පාන්දර එන්නේ. පාන්දර එන්නේ කරුවල එන්නේ ඉතින් පොලිං වල ඉඳලා එන්නේ ඉඳලා අන්තිමට බෙහෙත් නැතුව ගෙදර යනවා. ඉතින් සෑහෙන කාල ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා.
A woman has died in a shooting incident in the Mutiagode area of Galle a short while ago. According to the police spokesperson ASP FU Wootler, the deceased woman is a 45-year-old. On further investigations by police, it was revealed that a person on a motorcycle targeted the woman while she was selling liquor at a shop and had opened fire. Taking a look at more local news, the third and final day of the Junior National Law Conference 2025 was held yesterday, featuring in-depth discussions on lawyering in the age of artificial intelligence.
The Junior National Law Conference concluded in Colombo, marking the end of a vibrant and forward-looking forum of lawyers and legal experts that spanned across 3 days. Day 3 centered on one of the most pressing issues of the modern era, future-proofing juniors, lawyering in the age of AI. The topic was explored by a distinguished panel of justices and practitioners representing the Attorney General's Department, the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka, and leading law firms and litigation chambers. Speaking after the discussion, Justice A.H.M.D. Nawaz of the Supreme Court underscored how AI is reshaping legal practice in profound yet uneven ways.
We have a duty towards court. You have a duty towards client. So when you have that duty, definitely breaches occur and it raises ethical considerations. When you cite fictitious cases before judges, and sometimes judges tend to include them, right? And there was this Indian tax appeal recently which I came across. In one of those cases, the Indian tax tribunal had produced its judgment, put it on the website, and they realized after it was uploaded that the judgment contained fictitious cases. Possibly the culprits were the lawyers, so they had to withdraw the judgment. Judgment was vitiated and the lawyers were reprimanded in Delhi. So these are some of those pernicious practices that have crept into AI, when AI could be beautifully crafted and made use of in our practice. Now see the impact that this kind of practices, this kind of unethical considerations can have in our legal practice. And the courts are now taking cognizance of all these, and in the absence of regulations by the Bar Council, the courts are now regulating this conduct. The generative AI, which I contrasted with functional AI, is dangerous sometimes. And one has to make a distinction between generative AI assisted work and generative AI created work.
This year's theme of the Junior National Law Conference, Raise the Bar, focuses on 3 core pillars: mentorship in motion, mentorship meets equality, and equal access to justice. Organized by the Junior Bar Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, the Junior National Law Conference 2025 brought together 3 days of specialized sessions, panel discussions and collaborative activities aimed at empowering and developing the next generation of legal professionals in Sri Lanka. The Ceylon Crafts Museum reopened today at the National Crafts Council premises in Palavatta, Batharamulla, in line with the Ceylon Heritage Festival 2025.
The Ceylon Crafts Museum was officially relaunched today at the National Crafts Council premises in Palavatta, Batharamulla as part of the Ceylon Heritage Festival 2025. Organised by the National Crafts Council, the event marked the reopening of the Council's Heritage Museum, offering visitors an immersive experience into Sri Lanka's rich artisanal traditions. The revamped museum is expected to attract both local and international travellers by showcasing authentic craftsmanship, traditional techniques and rare cultural exhibits, further strengthening Sri Lanka's growing cultural tourism sector.
A remarkable milestone was recently achieved by one of the country's leading corporate figures as he marked 25 years of service at a pioneering institution in Sri Lanka. Bernie Stefan, Chairman and Managing Director of Nestle Lanka Limited, joined Newsfirst Power Moves podcast as he reflected on his 2-decade-long journey.
During the episode, Bernie Stefan hailed the resilience and adaptability of Sri Lankan professionals, emphasizing that the strength of any organization lies in each individual embracing responsibility and leadership in their own capacity.
So that was really interesting. But what impressed me is the resilience. The resilience of the teams I worked with inside Nestle, but also others I met. I think people here see these challenges coming their way as something. Okay, look, yeah, it's something, but we're gonna get through it, we're going to fix it, we're going to move on. Leadership is not, limited to the MD or the chairman. No, we're all leaders. If you work in a job, even if you have nobody reporting to you, in the end, in a certain job, you have to decide. And this is very often, if it's easy, it's not a decision. Then it's obvious. But when you have, to say, I can go left, I can go right, well, you have to decide.
You have to make a decision, yeah.
But what I think is important that, as an organization, and that's where senior leaders come into play. Where we come into play is that you create an environment where people feel empowered to take a decision. And they also know that if it doesn't work out, that's also okay. That's really important in today's world. It's learning agility. And I think many of us, when we went to school, it was a very one-way confrontation. Somebody told you had to learn it, and that's what in the test you had to repeat. I think the world luckily has moved on. And what was knowledge in the past is learning today. So learning over knowledge. I think this is extremely important. And whenever I moved on, it's not that I, immediately left behind and completely forgot what I did before. But I think you need to go in with this open mind and say, look, this is something that, maybe you're not so familiar with. So learn, be open, listen, talk to people, connect. Of course, then, you would connect with what you have done and your experience.
Yes.
But I think it's really important that you go in and have this open mind and this learning agility and this curiosity that you kind of want to get into something that, maybe you haven't done before.
The full Power Moves episode with Bernie Stefan will premiere on Newsfirst Digital soon.
A bus carrying Indian Umrah pilgrims crashed into a fuel tanker in Saudi Arabia today, claiming the lives of at least 45 Indian nationals.
45 Indian pilgrims have been killed after the bus they were travelling in caught fire in an accident near Medina in Saudi Arabia. The Telangana government said in a statement that the bus had 46 passenger pilgrims who were travelling from the Islamic holy city of Mecca to Medina when the accident took place. The accident took place approximately 25 kilometers before reaching Medina. Official sources said that there were 46 passengers on the bus, out of which one passenger escaped and is currently undergoing treatment. According to rescue teams, the bus was completely charred, making identification of victims extremely challenging.
Sri Lanka has suffered a 3-0 whitewash in the one-day international series against Pakistan yesterday. After losing the first 2 games, the Sri Lankan side fell short once again in yesterday's final ODI, concluding a disappointing ODI series. The team was led by Kusal Mendes, who took over captaincy duties of the dead rubber encounter.
Kusal Mendes led the side in the absence of regular captain Charit Asalanka, who was unwell. Sri Lanka also fielded a depleted squad with Wanindu Hasaranga and Dushmantha Chamira ruled out due to injuries and Asitha Fernando sidelined by illness. Jeffrey Van der Say, Ishan Malinga and Mahesh Deekshana were brought into the playing 11 while the match marked the ODI debut of Pavan Ratnayaka. After being sent into bat, Sri Lanka were bowled out for 211 runs. Sirasa Wickremesinghe top scored with 48 and debutant Ratnayaka added a promising 32. Pakistan successfully chased the target of 212 in 44.4 overs, securing a 4-wicket win and sealing the series sweep. Meanwhile, the Sunday Times reported that 7 Sri Lankan players, including Charita Salanka, Wanindu Hasaranga, Asitha Fernando, Kamidu Mendes, Sirasa Wickremesinghe, Jeffrey Van der Say and Mahesh Deekshana had reserved airline tickets to leave Islamabad just hours after the first ODI. According to the report, following multiple rounds of discussions with officials, the players agreed to remain in Pakistan and continue with the series. Media outlets also reported that President Anurukumara Dissanayake participated in these discussions. Wanindu Hasaranga and Dushmantha Chamira missed the match due to injuries, while Asitha Fernando was also sidelined due to illness. Jeffrey Van der Say, Ishan Malinga and Mahesh Deekshana were included in the playing 11. In related developments, members of the T20 squad, Dasun Shanaka, Kusaljani Pereira, Banu Rajapaksa and Dushan Hemantha also travelled to Pakistan in recent days. Sri Lanka's ODI struggles on foreign soil continue. Since 2015, the team has lost 8 overseas ODI series, each ending in a complete series defeat. Over the past 5 years, Sri Lanka has won just 5 of 24 ODIs played away from home with a win rate of only 20.83%. The team's dot ball percentage in 11 matches is 54.8%, placing Sri Lanka above only Bangladesh in the global rankings. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Cricket has issued an official media release outlining several key updates ahead of the Tri-Nation T20 International Tournament featuring Sri Lanka, Pakistan and Zimbabwe, scheduled to begin on the 20th of November in Rawalpindi. According to the announcement, Dasun Shanaka has been appointed captain for the series. Regular captain Charita Salanka, along with fast bowler Asitha Fernando, will return home after both players fell ill and were deemed unavailable for the tournament.
Sri Lanka A clinched a dominant 7-wicket victory against Hong Kong in the Asia Cup Rising Stars 2025.
Sri Lanka A secured a convincing 7-wicket victory over Hong Kong in the Asia Cup Rising Stars 2025. Playing in Doha, Hong Kong posted 117 for 9 in their allotted 20 overs after opting to bat first. Trevin Matthew delivered an impressive spell, claiming 4 wickets. Sri Lanka A chased down the target with ease, reaching 118 for 3 in just 13.5 overs. Wanindu Fernando led the way with an unbeaten 47. The tournament is being broadcast live on TV1 of the Maharaja Media Network, which holds the official local broadcasting rights, and can also be streamed online at www.sirasatv.lk.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.